Hello, hello. How are you, Joshua and Kazuki? I see a Josh and a Kazuki in there jamming. Hope you guys are well. Yeah, it looks like we are live. You know, I'm never quite sure about these things. It's not real time. There's these weird delays, but then once it's there, it seems like it started streaming before I even clicked the button. I don't know. How is everyone? I hope you're well. We're going to start this one off a little bit different. Usually, you know, I waste a little bit of time for people to come on in before we start playing music. But instead of wasting the time, it's never a waste of time. It's always cool to hang out. But I think you get what I'm talking about. Anyhow, we're going to talk about some news. And this came across my lap today. And this here is a Harley Benton, kind of a version of their guitar bass. It looks remarkably like the Fender Squier Jazzmaster Baritone. This is a 30-inch instrument, and it's all blacked out. And it looks like it has P90s, although I've been told that it's wound like Jazzmaster pickups. That being said, it's a very cheap Harley Benton. I believe it retails for 190 euros. And, you know, with the Harley Benton stuff, you don't really know what you're getting. It's so inexpensive. That said, they make some pretty decent instruments. It just, when it comes to things like electronics, that's probably one of the areas where they really skimp out. So, yeah, this is not online yet anywhere. A person who bought this in the store at Thomann, or not Thomann, Thomann. They went into the store and they purchased this directly in the store. They did not order it online. So it has not yet made it online. I don't know if it's sort of like a short run that they're doing and trying it in store and see what the interest is or whatever the case may be. But I'm very intrigued because I have one of the, which one? I have the original version of this. The Squier version. And we'll go back to the main camera. And I have this one, which is the Fender Squier version that a lot of people are like really crazy about and spending way too much money on. The thing about these is a lot of them had either twisted necks, you know, or warped fretboards or humped fretboards. So this one, every single one I've ever played has a problem like that. They're made very fast and very cheaply. And this one here has a very slight hump down here, like in the very, very highest part of the highest strings of the fretboard, on the treble side of the fretboard. Nothing that affects how I use it. So I just kept it. But it's also part of the reason why I don't sell this, because what am I going to sell it for? You know, it's got a humped fretboard. And like I say, a lot of these ones that are selling for like $2,000, they probably have crappy fretboards or crappy necks. And the people who owned it aren't smart enough to know it, or the people buying it didn't notice. Some people just don't notice these things. But yeah, so I'm not going to sell mine, because what am I going to sell it for? It's got a hump neck. What, sell it for $200? Just keep it and use it. But that being said, I would like another one, because that's the guitar that I use for wetlands. And I would like a better one. And it's possible that the Harley Benton stuff is a little bit better QC. This is what I come to understand in terms of the actual craftsmanship of the wood stuff. Electronics usually stink, but yeah. Anyway, so that's the news for today. We'll go to the, we'll look at that one more time. Harley Benton. I think it's actually called the Jazz Bass 6. What does it say there? doesn't. The name on the headstock is hard to read. I have it really big on my screen, and yeah, I still can't read it. Anyway, so that's the news for today. Before getting into it, and let's go back to the big camera. Got a bunch of folks in the stream. Hope everyone is doing well. Joshua, Kazuki, L. Paul, Synth Chris, Rose, L. Paul, Synth Chris, Kazuki, Lucas Weisbrod. Oh, wow. Lucas, all the way from Argentina. I guess it's virtually the same. I think we're an hour apart, Argentina in here. I think these other folks are much further away from my time zone. So, yeah. Good to see everyone. A little bit of, whatchamacallit, Synth Chris. What's up, Bunn? What's up, Synth Chris? Rose, howdy. L. Paul, hi, guys. Kazuki, yo. Kazuki, how's it going, Bunn? It's going well. Rose, howdy, Bunn. I'm still comparing just a couple of things. So I'm releasing the demo track I recorded in about 5 already. Cool. I have your profile queued up, so get it up there. And L. Paul, 30 inches? Yeah, 30 inches in scale, that Harley Benton. Kazuki, this would be sick with the Dunnable D90 pickups or the BKP Warpig P90s. Yeah, or it might be sick the way it is, or maybe it's terrible. I don't know. It's like, as my whole thing with pickups is as long as they don't make noise. And L. Paul says, why don't they set humbuckers to baritones like this? So the short answer is most manufacturers have no idea what they're doing, and they're just trying things. They could consult with people. I've had a few people attempt to consult with me, like try and get free consulting. And they're like poking around. They're like, oh, we want to make this. What are your opinions? And then, we talk about a few things, and then I realize that they already have an idea of what they want to do, and they don't actually care about what matters. So there's a lot of that stuff that goes on in the baritone world. It's a really easy problem to solve in terms of the mass market of baritone users. The avatar customer of that in terms of the modern baritone use case. I could put down a rap sheet for you in 2 seconds and tell you how to solve every single problem there is in terms of like the mass market of that niche, and what they really want. Even the people who think they want something else, really, they want something else, something different. A lot of people, when they're making decisions about buying guitars, I've noticed they base about 80% of their decision on the look. And they'll take a way more terrible guitar or totally like a guitar way outside of anything that works for them based on looks over specs, And, a great example of that, even for me, would be the SRC6. I have one of those. Whoa. And this, this guitar is a really amazing guitar in terms of how it plays, how it sounds, how the quality of the craftsmanship, the perfection of the craftsmanship, the price point. It's no longer available, but the price that it was selling at for how high of a quality it is. Some people don't like the neck dive, but neck dive isn't a problem for me. So that's an interesting instrument because it doesn't look cool. A lot of people feel like it doesn't look cool. And I personally, in terms of the aesthetics that I'm interested in, I would agree. I'm like, I don't like the way it looks. Although I think it's made super well. It's made way above, the quality of the guitar is way above what the selling price was. But yeah, it's not a cool vibe. I have one and I can use it, but I wouldn't really want to use it to play live. So I get the whole thing of like aesthetics really matter to people. It has to fit with your total aesthetic of your project, of your music. So yeah, building guitars, guitar manufacturers, I don't know. A lot of them are just not tuned in. I would say the majority of them are not tuned in or stubborn about it in some way. Like I've talked with a lot of manufacturers, none of the super big ones, but some reasonably big ones. And yeah, they're just like, like, I don't want to hear it. I'm like, okay, then you're not in this game. You're just a tourist. Anyway, I got so many screens here. Let's go through the comments. Synth Chris looks pretty slick, and El Paw 30 inches. Yes, 30 inches. Yeah, the Harley Benton, it looks totally decent. I would say for me, it looks maybe better than the Squire in a certain way. It just has a slightly more balanced look. Maybe this photo is not good. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things. I don't even like offset guitars. I dislike most offset guitars other than the Viper, the LTD Viper, or ESP Viper. I like that. That's a different kind of offset, but it's an offset nonetheless. Anyway, we're going to get into this stuff. I'm just going to go through a few of the comments, and then we're going to get into today's Bandcamp Friday. We're already 12 minutes in, so 15-minute mark, we're going to get into it. But and because okay, El Paul says, oh, why don't they make humbuckers? So getting back to that, I went on a major detour there. But why don't they make humbuckers? Because they just don't know. The manufacturers are not tuned in to the mass market. They just aren't. They're just trying things. And on top of that, they're a little bit stubborn. And this happens. Kazuki says, I'd love a 28-inch scale Jazzmaster baritone with vintage JM style trem. You could probably get one of those made in the Fender Custom Shop. $8,000 later. The vintage Jazzmaster trems, I don't know if you've ever played them. They're really bad, by the way. Like in terms of the string will always fall off the bridge. But, there's ways to fix that. Lucas Weisbrod says, what's up? What's up? Road Bull, how does HB avoid lawsuits? Well, one of the things about it is, and going back to it just so everyone knows what we're talking about. Is we're talking about this guitar. How do we avoid lawsuits? One of the cool things about Fender is pretty relaxed about lawsuits. They will sue if it's really infringing on something majorly. But generally speaking, they kind of know that people ultimately want a Fender. And if there is a Fender option, even a Squire option, most people are going to go for that. So I could guarantee you, if Fender released the same Squire series, that the Squire Jazzmaster series, and it was $300 to $500 more than this guitar, most people would still want the Squire more. And it's just a weird psychology thing. Even if this was a better made instrument, which is a weird thing, but like brand, especially Fender loyalty, people are a little bit crazy for Fender. Also, they know that they can probably sell it for close to what they paid for it. And in the case of the last Jazzmaster baritone, people sold it for 500% more than they bought it for, because it went up to about $2,000 resale value at one point. And I bought it Canadian for $700. I think it was like $499. I think it was $500 US when it was available. So Fender knows that everything that is kind of ripping on the Fender brand is really just promoting the Fender brand. And people, generally speaking, want the Fender brand, any of the Fender brands, over a knockoff, generally. And if they do get a knockoff, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to be like holding out until they can get the real thing. And that's a thing that happens over and over again. It's weird psychology. Anyway, Kazuki says, yo, that new Monovoth is going to be so good. Yeah, it is. And Kazuki wants a vinyl of that Monovoth Lucas. So get it in there. Rose says, uploaded just in time. Great. Don't worry about how good it is, Rose. It's just about getting it out. Like, get the music out and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And every bit of the way, everything you learned from doing that one release, you're like, okay, this next release, I'm going to do it better in these ways. Whatever you think better is. But yeah, the process of doing it is the ultimate process of refinement. You know, it's kind of like playing shows. So you could rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. But no matter how well rehearsed you are, your very first show live is probably going to be very unlike your rehearsals. And things are not going to be quite right. Sometimes you get lucky, and it's amazing. I had a band called Horse Lover, and that band rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. And we were pretty good, but we weren't a perfect band. And there was some nerves about playing live. And then we played live, and our very first set live was incredible. And then it was like not until our subsequent, maybe third show, that it was like the nerves kicked in and it was a little rocky. But generally speaking, playing live, like there's no better rehearsal than playing live for 10 shows, 20 shows in a row. If you can play 20 days in a row in front of people, nothing prepares you for playing live like playing live. So same thing with releases. Nothing prepares you for putting a release together like releasing music. You can do as much as you want behind the scenes the very first time, but usually it's never going to compare to the 10th time you do it, the 20th time you do it. So releasing music, I think, is an important practice for an artist. Releasing your art, no matter what kind of an artist you are, I think is an important practice. And we live in a cool time where there's things like this. You know, there's like communities that have popped up all over the place in various art forms that people celebrate the moving forward. And it's not about the competition of it. It's not about the, what's so good or what's so bad. Of course, we all have our favorites. You know, I have my favorites. But I don't really look at music so much anymore as terms of what's good or bad. I definitely went through that phase. I'm like, that music's bad. This music's good. It's such a redundant way to think. I don't think it's a very cool way to think. It's way cooler if you're like chill and you're like, yeah, like I'm curious. I want to hear everything. And if I don't like it, I don't have to like everything to be able to enjoy it. That's a weird idea for some people, but yeah. Anyway, gonna get into it. It's 8:19, so we'll get back to the comments here, and we're gonna queue it up, and we're queuing it up with one of Beard Guy's releases. This is a release that he did, that he is a part of, as far as I know, and whatchamacallit, Kill the Witcher, or Kill the Witch Finder is the material. 2 tracks by them. We're going to do the second track here. We're going to go all the way in, go deep, and kill your local witch finder. Amazing. But Beer Guy from California, USA, and let's check it out. quick tasteful fade here. So, I'm going to reset my gain to -11. That was cool. That was really fun. I found that like oddly like just a fun track. It's gnarly and it's like filthy. And there used to be this venue here in Toronto called Siesta Nouveau. I had a studio in that building. But there were two venues in it. One of the venues was Siesta Nouveau, and there was an upstairs venue called High Art for the Lowdown. And High Art for the Lowdown was like a lot of shows that sounded like that. And it was just, I guess this is like nostalgic for me. It's like crusty, punk influenced, sludgy, DB kind of stuff, you know, leather patches or leather vests and lots of patches on everything. Not really thrash, more like DB crust punk kind of place. Anyway, that was awesome. It's not DB or crust punk, but it definitely has like, I don't know, homage to that kind of stuff. Very cool, very fun. So I'm just going to do a quick little browse of the comments while I get the whatchamacallit. Where is my bam, bam, bam. What I'm doing is I'm putting the links in there. So for those of you who might be new to the stream, we preview a little bit of the music, usually about 1 minute. And then if you like the music, you can go through and, you know, either purchase the music because it's Bandcamp Friday and all proceeds go to the artist, which is amazing. But also just go take a listen. Maybe you're like a little bit reserved. It's like, I'm not ready to buy. But I'm curious. Well, click that link and click through and check it out. Very cool. But so comments. SRC. Rose says the SRC looks weird and weird is good. I guess. Oh, I have my comments right here, so this is a little better. Bunn, did you also see the new Bass 6 on Eastwood's website? Yeah, I did. It looks a lot like a bass. It looks like they're going the road of the hooky bass, which is like more of a bass doing the Bass 6 thing, the 6 high, you know, E to E type of thing. I think it's cool what everything that Eastwood is doing, and seems the quality of their guitars is improving, but yeah, I don't think I would buy that one. There's other stuff I want from Eastwood though. And Elpa says, come on, how is it possible to lawsuit the company just for the guitar shape? That's crazy. There are so many shapes in general. Yeah, well, the thing about a shape, it's just like music. This is what the part of the law that protects that is called intellectual property. And the thinking, it's just like if you copy a piece of music exactly and then release it as your own, that is a breach of intellectual property. So that's kind of how they do it with the musical instruments. It's not a patent. And thank God it's not a patent, you know. It's just intellectual property. Well, you can patent the shape, I guess. I feel like that's a little bit of a waste of time. You can just protect the IP, the intellectual property, by proving that you did it first. And usually that holds up in a court of law here in the old North America. But self-inflatable says, I don't know about the Jazzmaster Jaguar for sure, but Fender doesn't have patents on the Tele strap bodies. They only go after you if you copy the headstocks. Patents, copyrights, whatever the correct word is. Yeah, I think it's more of a copyright. Intellectual property is copyright. as far as I know. I just don't know how it applies to guitars exactly, but I imagine it's exactly the same thing as how you protect music or how you protect writing. Like if I write a book and someone plagiarizes that book and then releases it for money, that's plagiarism, that's copyright infringement, and yeah, because it's an expression. And I would argue that the shape of a guitar is an expression, because I buy guitars based on their looks. We just talked about the SRC6. I don't like the way it looks. I love the guitar. I think it's unbelievably well done. I just don't like the way it looks. And so much so that I wouldn't want to play it live. Anyway, we're going to go on to the next one here. And bam, bam, bam. Where's my console? Hello, OBS. And bottom right, here we go. We got Mr. Bog Machine. So again, Beard Guy. This is Beard Guy's solo project. And he's got a hot new jam. We're going to do Beard Guy back to back today. Crossing over the intro. We're not going to do the intro. We're going to do track 2. It's 4 minutes long. Sometimes we skim a little bit of the track. I haven't listened to this yet. It just came out today. So we may skim, we may not. I just want to give you, the listener, an idea of what it's about, and we'll drop the link in there. And if you like it, follow up with it, buy it, support the artist, all that cool stuff. So this is Network of Trees. I like the sound of that. And here we go. Skim a little bit. Very doomy. Very doomy and atmospheric, this one. And Bog Machine travels a lot of ground. And sometimes it's more sludgy with like full production, like full band kind of stuff. And this one, haven't listened to the whole release. I'm very curious. I put the link in there if you're like, what's the rest of it sound like? Link's in there. Check it out. Bog Machine. It's our good buddy, Beard Guy. Beard Guy is always in the house. And let's get it back up there. All right. And C920. Cool. So 2 releases from Beard Guy. First one is a collaboration. This one is his solo project. For those of you who have never been here before, we tend to focus more on solo creators. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey, if you're at the very beginning or if you're at the very end. Well, the very end, I don't know, what, retirement? Oh, excuse me. But yeah, it doesn't matter your level of skill or your level of popularity or anything like that. It's about being a creative and risking it all by putting it out there, which is hard to do. It's very hard to do for a lot of people. So it's amazing that you guys have taken these steps, no matter where you're at, because some people, they get nerves later. They do a whole bunch of stuff and then they get nerves and then they're, I know a few of those folks. Anyway, we got some other stuff going on. Here we go. And Rose, I got a question for you. Is the newest release, I can only imagine that it is, Pressure and Picturesque. It says released September 3rd. Are you in a time zone? No, you're in my time zone. You're in Michigan. Anyway. Cool. Yeah, released September 3rd. That's interesting. So just going to grab a few comments here. And a lot of comments. Apologies. That I can't keep up on top of it. Synth Chris says, hey, Bunn Man, I totally forgot about a collab I was part of. I sent it to you on your Discord if there's time today. Yeah, man, 100%. I'll queue that up. I'll grab that while we're listening to the track here. And that was gnarly, bouncy, but gross. Yes. Talking about Kill the Witchfinder. And Lucas says, love the aggressive tone. Yes. Demian 333. I started doing my first solo home recording back in the early 2000s after 20 years of live bands, and I prefer recording alone. My first music, I used a V-amp, and it ended up on some DBZ movies. Oh, amazing. Gary says, hello, chaps. How's it going? How's it going, Gary? Super good to see you here. Kazuki says, hey, Gary. Synth Chris says, hey, Gary. Rose. Nasty droning into harmonies are such a vibe, and those bass tones are killer. Stoked you are digging the jams. Cool. Love the drones, Synth Chris. Sunno. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a Sun influence going on in there. Not too sure. Beard Guy is usually around, so we can probably ask him at some point. Kazuki says, where should I post this untitled demo I did for the queue? You can post it in my Discord or in the Bandless Discord in the general tab, and I'll grab that right now. Reed Engel says, hello. Hello, Mr. Well, he says, hi, everybody. Hello, Mr. Reed. It's good to see you. I hope you're having an amazing Friday, a wicked start to the weekend. We're going to move along here. Rose, correct. She's from the future. That is cool. Future, future Rose. And here we go. Let's get her queued up. Pressure and Picturesque is the jam, and what do we got here? Here we go, bottom right. All right, so gonna kind of like preface this a little bit. Rose, this is Rose's first foray into releasing music on Bandcamp. It's pretty new as far as I understand. Been sharing a lot in Discord groups and whatnot, but this is the first time public. I think if you happen to like this stuff, I think Rose is interested in collaborations. I think particularly a drummer. I could be wrong, but Rose is in the cool chat here. So if you like what you hear, check it out and get her going. I'm queued up. Yeah. Cool. And I kind of juggled my windows there. Apologies. But I like the way that the chord melody moves in that Rose. You hit on some sophistications in it that I think are pretty cool. And yeah, definitely. If you could confirm that you'd be, interested in, linking up with a drummer or somebody who can work with drums in some way. I seem to remember you talking about this in the groups, but I might have it wrong. But if you could confirm, that would be amazing. But yeah, I dig the tones. I dig the way that the melody and the chords moves quite a bit. And this is the link to that. And so if you dig that, you can check it out more. There's 5 different releases. I believe they're all singles. Pretty sure. And if you're a player and you like that kind of sound and you're like, I could do something with that sound from a drummer perspective, I think get in touch. So C920, queuing it up. I queued up a few more releases there, and I kind of messed my windows up for a second there. Apologies. Anyway, Rudy Angle says, I got my first baritone PRS 277. Stoked. PRS 277s are unbelievably well-made baritones. And for some reason, they're a lot more expensive than they once were. They used to be like $650 here in Canada. But I think they're about $1,000 now or $900 now in Canada. But still fair. Still, I think they're $1,000 quality of instrument for sure. So stoked you got that. Are you going to change the pickups? What are you going to do with it? Which 277 did you get? Is it a regular humbucker one or is it the P90 one? Curious. Let us know. And Kazuki, yeah, he's in New Zealand. Time zone, other end of the world. Any UFOs? You seeing any UFOs out in that New Zealand? Apparently, it's a hot spot way out there. And Synth Chris says, nar. Kazuki, sounds like when when his mom takes his snack away. Not sure. Super heavy. Lucas says, yes, I already love this. Of course. I'm losing my place in the chat here. Tone makes me, or Reed Angle says, this tone makes me uncomfortable in a good way. Yeah. It's funny. That's kind of all I keep going for lately is like, I'm like, this tone's not right. Perfect. Dimian323 says, I knew nothing about recording and programming drums and never thought it would get on the soundtracks. Push yourself and put your music up everywhere because you never know. Absolutely. The things that have come to me from putting myself out there, unbelievable and very thankful. And yeah, it's worth it. Also, your personal development. When you put yourself out there, there's all these sort of barriers, your personal barriers that you break down. And I would say putting myself out there in a variety of different ways has given me the ability to move a little bit more graciously or gracefully through the world and more comfortably through the world, which I'm super thankful for. It's not like I got, some huge opportunity or anything like that. It's just like, what I got out of the exercise of doing it all. So there's a whole bunch of reasons to put yourself out there. I keep looking at this there's so many screens. Rose is saying, would love to work with some various folks. Yeah. So if you dig what's going on there, Rose is in the chat. And if you're in the Bandless community, Rose is also in the Bandless community. And I guess maybe I'll share the Bandless stuff in there. But we're going to get on to another track here. This next one is by Al Paul. Al Paul has been like relentless every single month. Just bam, bam, bam. New track, new track, new track. I love to see consistency and consistent output. Very cool. And the material is good. At least all the previous material was really good. Not sure how loud it's going to be. I may have to adjust gain as we go, but let's take a listen. What do we got here? Bottom right. Great. And this is False God is the project, and from Hexerlize by, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there with the naming. But anyhow, False God is Al Paul's artist name, and Artificial Conditions is the track. So it's cool. It's very cool. Let's grab that link. Amazing. Did I put the previous in there? I did. Okay, great. Al Paul, I have to say, I'm gonna be really upfront here. Is I generally am not a gent thal kind of person. I tend to like the thal stuff way more than gent stuff, even though they share a lot of properties. Vildhjarta, there's a bunch of things about that band that always go to the heart, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I have to say, regardless of my feelings about that whole world, the way that you do it is the most interesting to me. And I'm not sure if it's because of the way you juggle it, but also like melodically, you juggle it melodically and you juggle it dynamically in terms of the left-right stuff and all of that, the call and respond stuff. I really love it. I think it's so cool. And it feels good. It's got a good bounce to it. So link is in there. Al Paul. Get in touch with Al Paul because he's killing. And read it. Okay, we're gonna go back to some comments here, and bam, 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 bam. Let's go to the C920. It's my main cam, and I'm gonna adjust my gain here. 11.5. Great. So in terms of comments, fun fact, the guitar is drenched in reverb and down tuned, and tuned down 7%. 7%. Is it, you do it instead of the 440, you're doing the 432 or whatever, 7 cents, or I'm not sure. But yeah, whatever you're doing, it's cool. Reed Engel says, I swooped mine. He's talking about his PRS 277 for $799 brand new. That's amazing. And Reed, you're in Canada. You're out in the East Coast. So $799 for anything in Canada, any guitar in Canada is a good price. Did I just say good? So Canadian? Good. It's a good price. I got the humbuckers, and I'm not sure if I'm going to swap pickups or not yet. I'll give myself time to see how I feel. Yes, I'm curious to see how you feel as well, because usually in the 277s, I find the pickups kind of dull in this weird way. Not terrible, just sort of dull. It's hard to explain until you hear it, and you're like, especially if you hear it back to back. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're kind of weird, but I don't know if they necessarily are putting the exact same pickups in every single year, but they've put them in quite a few years that I've experienced. So yeah, I'm curious how it works out. Rose is talking about the project. If you want to know more about it, it's in the comments. And just the old one, but working on new tracks right now. Oh, Paul, these are just old tracks? Well, whatever, man. They're awesome. Who cares if they're old? Like, I don't know. Like, if you have new stuff, what's that going to sound like? It's going to be crazy. Kip Gross, my homie from Espo. Scotty loves dissonance. Saw that grimace smile. Yeah. The flat second. Give me all the flat seconds all day long. Oh man. Kazuki, drop E, go burr. Kip Gross, sweet. Kazuki, it sounded like drop E to my ears anyway. Synth Chris, L Paul. Yeah, people are digging it, L Paul. Drop E. Dimian, since the Koof, it's hard to be inspired, but watching you, and I've been watching Paul Ortiz, aka Chimp Spanner. Chimp Spanner is awesome. Live channel, it's been a lot of help. The Koof, I'm not sure what Koof means. It could be a typo, could be like slang for something that I don't really know. But I imagine it's like since a certain point in time, you've had a hard time being inspired and whatnot. The only thing I can personally say about being inspired, and I think this is something that's maybe worth all artists thinking about, diving into, is inspiration. As far as I can tell, there are things external to yourself that will inspire you, but ultimately the best inspiration comes from inside, which is just putting yourself to it and getting into a practice. And the interesting thing about being in a practice of creativity, a rhythm of creativity, is that inspiration shows up frequently when you show up frequently, a lot more frequently. And you can kind of a lot more easily just turn it on, so to speak. I still get stuck. Everyone still gets stuck at some point, but usually stuck has more to do with the difference between what you have and what you want. So I have this track going and it's not going the way I want it to go. So maybe analyzing our wants and getting more in tune with what our wants are and what the actuality and the reality of that is a good idea. Not exactly sure. But anyhow, gonna zoom through a bunch more. We're gonna probably go over an hour. We usually go to 9 o'clock, but we're probably gonna go to like 9:10 or 9:15 because we got a few more releases here. More than I've ever had, actually. Which is interesting. But this next one is from a fella, Arto, in the Baritone Obsessed community. And he's using a Chapman ML3 baritone for this stuff. He said he gave me some instructions to skip ahead a little bit. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and I'm going to fade it in. Well, he didn't give me instructions. He gave me a heads up. He's like, you might want to do this because of this. And I'm like, maybe, because I want to get into the track. Cool beans. That is from Arto, way over in Finland. I guess not as far away as our pal Kazuki. Kazuki's in, I think literally on the other side of the world, like New Zealand, from where I am. Depends where you are, I guess. But this is the link to Arto's jams, coming straight out of Finland. There's a little bit of winter in there. There's a lot of winter in Finland, and I feel like I hear the winter in it, the cold and the dark and the somber. Cool track. Like I say, Arto is a member of the Baritone Obsessed community, and he's using some baritone guitars in there. Did I press enter? There we go. We got enter. Cool. Redangle, you're in Wisconsin. Okay, that's right. You're moving to Canada in about a year and a half? Move to Toronto. We can hang out. El Paul saying that his influence is very fractalize influenced. I sort of can see that. I like your version of it better though, El Paul. To be frank, I'm not trying to talk you up here. I'm just saying the way you do it is more what I like. Also, I don't like super overproduced things. And I think fractalize is a little too produced. For me. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Anyway, I like a little bit of life in it, a little bit of raw. Gary Hebner. It's interesting that you show up in the comment right there because we got a Gary track queued up. This one's called Take Full. And Gary is a member of the Baritone Obsessed community, and he has a YouTube channel talking about baritone guitars and many other things. And he is from South Africa. He's an SA fella. And a lot of UFOs down there too in South Africa. Speaking of taking it back to the UFO thing. But we're going to go right into Gary's jam here. And we got two more to get into before the night is done. But Take Full, metalcore, new metal, modern metal from South Africa. Oh, I didn't reset my gain. I'm going to restart it. Bam, bam. skim a little bit, Gary. Not gonna skim. I like the way that musically, I like the way that that is arranged and like how certain parts play against each other. There's like some new things in there that I've never really heard before. This is a little bit of a collaboration. Gary, if you could let us know, like featuring Donovan, I don't know who Donovan is. Is he a vocalist? Is he the vocalist? Because I know you're also a vocalist. But for those of you who don't know Gary, Gary is a producer and, you know, generally does everything himself. So yeah, excellent material, Gary. You're starting to get a lot of stuff out too, which is cool. Got 2 tracks here. And for the longest time, you were having a really hard time getting any music out. So I'm stoked to see it. And I think I forgot this track. Did I? Broken Beyond. Great. And Gary, oh my God, what am I doing? There we go. Bam. And if you want to follow up with Gary, check out his jams. They're sounding good. That's his link right there. And I'm going to reset my gain. I got 2 more to go here. And whoa, we're going to go straight into it. Rest in Yeti. This is our pal, Synth Chris. He was a, whatchamacallit, collaborator on this Nintendo Core jams. And I have an idea. We've listened to stuff by this project before, but yeah, let's get into it. It's like legitimately like brutal and awesome, but it's really fun and like kind of funny, but fun. Like not funny like a joke, even though I'm sure there's some joking going on. But yeah, I don't really know what to say. It's crazy. Oh my God. Chris, what do you get involved with here? This is madness. Where's our gain? Got to bring our gain back up. We got one more. I'm gonna go to the, what do you call it? The comments at the very end. Bam, bam. And this is by Kazuki Hirotani. And am I saying Hirotani correctly. I hope so. But Kazuki is a solo artist in New Zealand and a fan of UFOs, watching the UFOs in the night sky down there in New Zealand. And whatchamacallit? This is a track that he had put up a little while ago, June 6th, and then he took it down, and we never got to listen to it. So he just put it back up today, and yeah, we're going to take a listen. Kazuki, why would you take that down? Like, what's wrong with that track? It's really cool. I've never really heard anything like it. Yeah, I don't know, more of that. Leave it up. Really impressed. Really, it's really a fresh sound. You know, not to say that I don't think that you can do fresh sound. Like, I'm aware of your music. Like, I've listened to a bunch of your music, and it's always pretty cool. But this is like really fresh, very interesting. And okay, we're gonna shut her down here. It's 9:05. Got it through all the things. So I'm gonna get into the comments here, and we're gonna hang out a little bit. But before that, for anyone who is new-ish here or doesn't really know what's going on, once a month on Bandcamp Friday, we do a stream on Friday nights of the last, stuff people released over the last month. Sometimes people are new to the whole fold, and they have material that we've never heard. In that case, we might listen to older material. But we skim through some stuff, or we just check out little bits of it. We share the links. The whole thing is like just getting a flavor of it and, trying to get the music discovery thing going on. It's not like a radio show where we play full tracks or whatever. It's just music discovery. Skim through, be like, yeah, that's cool. I have a vibe here. And also for people to kind of connect. So if there's someone in the comments that you're like, oh, that was an interesting track. I do music as well, and I really kind of like connect with that. Perhaps there's the opportunity for a collaboration. And the thing with collaborations, or even just connecting with a person, it's just like, I just like what you do, and I'd like to, what are you all about? Where do you live? How do you do it? What's your thing? You just want to be pals. So reaching out to people for collaborations or just for friendships, highly encouraged. And the worst thing that could happen is it doesn't work out. Everyone survives in that case. But yeah, connect with your fellow folks. And make some noise, live a good life. Kip Gross says, I hear the type. Typo negative vibes, Broken Beyond. Yeah. I get what you guys are talking about, the Broken Beyond kind of stuff. Yeah. I didn't hear the typo negative vibes, but now I do. Even though I think they're doing it in a totally different way. But yeah, Broken Beyond, there is definitely like a typo negative-ish angle there. Maybe. And if they didn't intend it, it's sort of there. Okay, Gary, also near a UFO center. Sweet. Kazuki, that baritone fuzz guitar video is still my favorite. Such filthy tone. Oh, you guys are talking about Gary's videos. Reed Angle, I'd like to pick your brain about what part of Canada to move to, likely somewhere Ontario or Alberta. Yeah, man. Reed, if anybody wants to get a hold of me for any kind of questions or whatever, I'm usually pretty good with email. Scott at thebun.ca. Oh, come on. Oh, right. I have too many screens, too many computers going. Thebun.ca. I generally don't respond to very much on social media just because there's so much. And I'm like, I don't even know how to keep up with it. But email, I try to keep up with that as best as possible. So send me an email. I'd love to talk about Canada. We could hop on like a Google Meet call or whatever if that's, conversations are sometimes a lot better for that kind of stuff. But happy to do it. Stoked to do it. And Kip Gross is saying Northern Ontario. Like that's the best place in the world. Arguably, I think he's right. Kazuki's saying Toronto seems like a place where most opportunities, but it is. Like Toronto is the biggest city in all of Canada, and there is the most opportunity for advancement here. But what's going on here? Artie on his way. Great. There's the most opportunity for advancement and growth in Toronto, but at a cost. It's a very expensive city. It's like living in New York. It's exactly the same kind of situation. And arguably, if you're business savvy, you can make develop a profitable business anywhere. But that aside, if you would just want to be in a place that is amazing, Toronto is pretty amazing in terms of arts, culture, and it is possibly the most mixed city in the entire world. And when I say mixed, it's truly mixed here. Like people live together. There isn't really the division that you see anywhere else. Of course, you can find divisive people everywhere in the world, but as far as I know and as far as I've experienced, there is nowhere else in the world where people live more together and are truly as united as they are in Toronto. So there's that aspect. It's pretty awesome, and it's got the biggest art scene probably in all of Canada. It happens to be the biggest city, so it has an unfair advantage of just population for that. Arguably, Halifax and Montreal are more artistic places. But yeah, not as much going on as there is here. And Synth Chris is saying those chords are sick. Yeah, some of those chords, like when it got heavy and the Broken and Beyond, yeah, I was a little bit impressed with that as well. And Kip Gross is saying, I'm getting an old 80s Living Color vibes. Cult of Personality, Kip Gross. That band was a crazy tight band. They were pretty awesome and actually quite unique. Donovan does the screaming in Gary's jam. Am I doing this right? Oh, I keep skipping ahead. later in the track. Okay, so Gary's track was almost entirely Gary, which is great to know. All the singing. And Donovan does the screams. Okay, during the breakdown that I didn't get to. Gary got his Mike Mashak from Donovan. Amazing. Synth Chris's track is brutal. Yeah. Unreal. It was like, what is happening? The musical equivalent of when someone steps on your NES. Meteoroid versus Bactelia. Yeah. Castivian. I don't even know what that means. I had a lot of fun with this. Yeah, of course you would. It's like just pure fun and brutal. It's like salt and pepper, I guess, you know, yin and yang. And Kazuki's saying, I basically had the mindset of Royal Blood, but on a tenor guitar for this. Well, whatever the inspiration was, you ended up with something new that was your own. And Kazuki's track, Untitled Demo, you should actually call it that for real. Like that should just be the name of this track forever. Yeah, it's fresh. It's really fresh sounding. Part at 150 is what I'd like a critique of. I'll have to do that at a later date. And yeah, Synth Chris is saying, leave it up. For sure, leave it up. It's like, it's a fresh track, dude. I did it with Helix Native. It's interesting. Kazuki did his track with Helix Native. I've pretty much, I don't know if I got lazy or what, but like I just use Helix Native now. Even though there's stuff I don't like about using plugins, I'm just like, I just plug in and it's good. I can change the tones if I want to. It's fine. And also ever since like I made myself a bunch of IRs, I shot a whole bunch of IRs and I made a few IRs that are like the bee's knees for me, for what I'm looking for. So I just like, I don't know, I've never heard Helix Native sound so good as it does lately, because I've found a difference between Helix Native and the actual unit. A very, very, very tiny difference. It has to do with the impedance. You can change the input impedance. But yeah, Helix Native is badass. Kip Gross, Cure Type O, great combo. Drone for days. What am I missing here? Not sure. Alessandro says, I really want to collaborate with others. It would be so sick. Alejandro, you know, we need to know where to find you. And I'm going to do one thing here before I depart, something important. I'm going to drop the Bandless link in there. Invite people. This link, it has a time limit. It will expire, but this is the Bandless Discord. And for those of you looking to collaborate, looking to meet other people, looking to just talk with other people and make friends on the internet with other musicians around the world, please do that. And yeah, and New Zealand, your apartment, my small town in New Zealand cost me around $4,000 a month. Wow. I thought I had it bad here in Toronto. Toronto rent is about $2,600 for a bachelor. You can find cheaper rent. But yeah, on average, that's average. Crazy. I think, what do we got here? On my way. Okay, great. Crazy. 9:17. I'm going to shut it down in 3 minutes here. I just want to get through a little bit more of the comments. Kip Gross says, Kazuki before I get there. Kazuki says, Bunn, I joined the M1 family. M1 Mac Mini showed up on the 8th. Amazing. They're so fast for how much they cost. They're like almost a budget computer. And I couldn't believe the jump in performance, like especially for video. I was just like blown away. The amount of color grading and selections and all that kind of stuff that I can do with it. It's just like no computer I've ever used came close before. And I had some crazy computers. I had a Mac Pro Tower, like maxed out Mac Pro Tower. Okay, Alejandro. Okay, you guys are having a conversation with each other. Yeah, get together, be friends. At the very least, be friends. But if you can collaborate, great. If the collaborations don't work out, sometimes they don't work out. So don't worry about that part. El Paul, have a great day, guys. Bunn, thanks for the feedback. Really appreciate it. Yeah, man, you do good work. It's easy to give amazing feedback when the tracks are amazing. Kazuki's going to get a stomp. The beautiful thing about a stomp, HX stomp, is that if you use Helix Native and the stomp, it's just free flowing. And the stomp, you can use it in any kind of scenario, and it integrates so beautifully into so many things. And it works with the other stuff as well. And you can use it as just an IR box, an IR loader. It doesn't, you can't, absorb the load of the amp or whatever, but it's so flexible. It's so awesome. Alejandro, get in that Discord, man. Meet the crew, meet the people. Kazuki, rent is around $2,800. Okay, of your $4,000 a month. You spend a lot of money there, Kazuki. I think it's easy for me to not spend money because I just sit in this chair all day and make videos and make music, and that's it. I just do that, eat, and then do that some more. Kip Gross, thanks for the new tunes. El Paul, going to be rocking your tunes tonight. I'm a huge Meshuggah fan, and I've already assimilated Immutable. This is like a continuation of the vibe. Thanks, man. Yeah. El Paul's stuff is like another level in terms of creatively. It's a different flavor, which is nice. I don't want it to be the same. C. Williams, how are you? I'm late to the party this time, boys. Kazuki, I started following you on Spotify after the last stream. Great stuff. Keep it up. C. Williams, looking forward to it. Reed Engel, thanks. I'm inspired by all of your creativity and motivation. Yes, get to it. Get busy. Kazuki, 800 is for groceries and 400 is left for my free spending of the month, which is for guitars. Oh, you don't drive? I don't drive either. Yeah, I'm like, why did I not learn how to drive? I know why I didn't, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to shut her down here, folks. It was a really fun Friday. Way more music than we usually have. We usually have about 4 to 5 tracks. Today, I think we had 7 or 8, which is crazy. Of course, you can always catch a replay, and I make sure that the chat replay is always available. So all the links will be available there as well. But this happens every month, the first Friday of every month, which is Bandcamp Friday. And even when they stop doing Bandcamp Friday, we will continue with our own Bandcamp Friday. And so there's that. And maybe in the winter, we'll start doing more of the sort of, conversation streams. Not sure on that, but I'd like to. Anyhow, I'm going to, get out of here. And I hope you guys have an amazing night and amazing weekend. And get to those tracks, get your Bandcamp profiles all spiffied up, and share your links in the Discord. Like I say, the Discord link will expire, so don't delay on that. If you want to be part of the group and share your track, it's an easy way to share your tracks and for everybody to hang out. It's all about hanging out. It's not a competition. It's about community. the 2 C's. It's like not about competition. It's about community. There we go. Anyway, have an amazing evening, weekend, and yeah,